이제 저희 해양
So let us begin the second session, Maritime Women and SDGs. So I ask everyone to please be seated. Our first presenter is Her Excellency Ekaterini Lupas, Ambassador of Greece Embassy to the Republic of Korea. She is joining us online. Let's check if we're connected.
You hear me?
Okay, thank you. So floor is yours, so you can go ahead.
It is with a great pleasure that I am addressing today's conference on women in maritime, participating virtually at this forum organized by the International Women's Federation and sponsored by the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries and the Busan Metropolitan Government. As much as I would like to be with you today and to have a live dialogue, sharing our experiences and knowledge about the position of women in shipping, unfortunately, I'm not able to be in the beautiful and so vibrant city of Busan that I like so much, due to the many obligations overlapping each other these days. I'm coming from Greece, a country known for its endless beaches and countless islands, where people has no choice but to devote their lives to the sea. For Greek people, the sea is not just an inspiration, but it is a way of life over the centuries. Women in shipping are a reality and not a myth, like that of mermaids and fish-shaped fairies of Aegean legends. To give you an example from our recent history, even during the Greek Revolution, after 400 years of Ottoman occupation, Manto Mavrogenos, a beautiful Greek woman from the island of Mykonos, not only influenced Europeans to support the Greek cause, but at her own expenses. She bought ships, creating a small fleet. Under the vigorous leadership of Mavrogenos, the Turks, who debarked on her island of origin, have been repulsed from the Cyclades Islands. And to give you another example, another prominent personality of this period of the Greek War of Independence is Laskarina Bouboulina. During her youth, she developed an interest in sailing. Following the outbreak of the Independence War, she became an outstanding figure as the naval commander of the fleet of the island of Spetses, contributing to several successful war campaigns. She is considered the first woman to attain the rank of admiral so many years ago. Nowadays, women are occupying many of the most iconic positions in Greek shipping. Greece is by far the top ship-owning nation in the world. While accounts for 0.15% of the world's population, Greek ship owners control approximately 21% of the global fleet in terms of capacity. By representing with 5,514 ships the largest cross-trading fleet and one of the safest, modern, and most technologically advanced, providing reliable and efficient services, as well as secure sea transportation to the world, Greek shipping plays a strategically significant role for global economy. Greek shipping constitutes also a major pillar for the Greek economy, while it is the backbone of the European shipping. In particular, the Greek-owned fleet represents 59% of the European Union controlled fleet, with more than 75% of the European Union controlled fleet being active in the bulk trunk sector. Greek ship owners are mainly engaged in bulk trunk shipping internationally, which accounts for 83% of global seaborne trade in terms of ton miles carrying oil and oil products, natural gas, coal, forests, cereals, fertilizers, etc. In other words, essential strategic cargoes. More than 98% of the trading capacity of the Greek-owned fleet concerns cargoes between third countries, while 31.8% of this activity being dedicated to trade to and from Asia. International shipping carries up around 90% of the world's global trade, and its crucial role is reflected through its contribution to securing uninterrupted global supply and flow of vital goods and products to markets and people around the world in good times as well as during times of crisis, such as the unprecedented global health crisis caused by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Women in shipping are the ones who every day fight on equal terms with their male colleagues in all the seas of the globe and in all related activities, seeking equal opportunities and equal treatment and fair advancement. Greek ship owners, along with the Greek state, had adopted for women into maritime sector a series of policies. And they are trying to promote in favor of women's participation in maritime shipping and port activities everything that is possible. But there is a long way to achieve whatever we would like to. In any case, this is a matter of changing attitude, perception, and education, of course. The actions related to the promotion of maritime and shipping professions are essential in the modern shipping environment. The removal of gender inequality in all sectors is, after all, a starting point for the proper development of our societies. The decision of the IMO on May last year to institutionalize the celebration of women's participation in shipping was a historic moment for shipping itself. Greece, as a prominent member of IMO and its administration, had initiated this idea and fully supported it till its final adoption. Shipping itself, although historically mostly male-dominated, has from its inception included women involved in all its activities. Maritime Women's Day breaks another stereotype which we must, along with other stereotypes, dispel so that there are those real conditions of gender equality in all sectors. IMO decided to establish the day in order to celebrate women in the industry, promote the recruitment, retention, and the sustainable employment of women in the maritime sector, raise the profile of women in shipping so that they can face IMO's commitment to Sustainable Development Goal 5. It is about how to achieve gender equality and empower all women, and support how to address the current gender imbalance in shipping. Women have risen to top jobs in most sectors of the maritime industries internationally, but nowhere has the change been as quite dramatic as in Greece. This striking number of women in Greek shipping that have proven themselves capable in maintaining and strengthening family shipping traditions makes it legitimate to ask if perhaps a family business model in shipping might actually be better than corporate culture for promoting diversity. Among them are Melina Travlos, elected in 2021 president of the powerful Union of Greek Ship Owners. For the past 5 years, the union has also had a female managing director, Katerina Pepper. In 2020, the ship owner, Semiramis Paliou, another lady, became the first woman to chair the Hellenic Marine Environment Protection Association, HELMEPA, the widely admired voluntary organization established back in 1982. And under Mrs. Paliou leadership, HELMEPA also appointed its first female Director General, Olga Sarantopoulou. Currently, Greek women hold the reins of the country's largest shipping groups and also the largest publicly listed shipping companies in the USA. An example is Maria Angelikoussis, one of the world's largest private ship owners, having last year taking over control of her group's fleet of more than 150 bulkers, tankers and LNG, following the untimely death of her father, John Angelikoussis. And if somebody will ask the question, okay, she inherited the fleet. Yes, but she's managing very well. Anna Angelikoussis is another member of the same family, also heads a group that controls one of Greece's largest 10 individual fleets, with 145 vessels. Last year, she consolidated 3 of the Navy's group companies, creating a fleet that is the largest of any shipping company publicly quoted in the USA. Angeliki Franco, another example, chairwoman and chief executive officer of Navios Maritime Partners, with a fleet of 188 vessels, one of the most powerful businesswomen, according to Fortune magazine, is listed among the first in the Lloyd's list top 100 most influential people in shipping. Greek women are at the helm of other leading shipping companies and are also excelling in the maritime service sectors, including, but not limited to, ship finance, insurance, and law. And female persons had other prominent institutions in the maritime cluster, such as the Piraeus Marine Club, MEXPO, the Hellenic Marine Equipment Manufacturers and Exporters, a leading suppliers and exporters association for the shipping sector under the leadership of Ms. Helen Polychronopoulou, represented also in Busan, and also the Hellenic Maritime Museum is another example, having a woman very active as president. Apart from Mrs. Travlos, Ioanna Prokopiou also is another woman member of the Greek Shipowners Board to successfully seek re-election. She was first elected to the board in February 2015. So right now she is on her 4th term. The Greek shipowners were the first to realize the potential of Korea in the shipbuilding industry. Particular importance is paid to the long-standing ties and the highly satisfactory cooperation between Greece and Greek shipowners and the South Korean shipbuilding industry, which is recorded since 1970. And this relationship started in particular in 1972 when the late George Livanos offered inspiration to the Korean entrepreneur Chung Ju-young by ordering 2 tankers, the first ever order to a non-existent shipyard. So the founder of the Hyundai construction started envisioning the creation of a pioneering shipbuilding facility able to efficiently serve the growing needs of large constructions. And nowadays, A large part of the new Greek-owned fleet is being built in South Korea, with a value amounting to 18.8 billion US dollars. According to Clarkson Research Service, so far in 2022, Greek ship owners have placed orders for 52 ships, amounting to 2.05 million gross tons from Korean shipyards, representing 20% of the total orders received by Korean shipyards in this year. Greek ship owners have proven their trust to the Korean shipyards for many years and will continue to do so by remaining their biggest customers. Last year, new building orders from Greek ship owners amounted to 173 ships, from 104 ships the year before, corresponding to 17.3 million tons. More than one-third of the oil tankers and almost 1 out of 6 LNG carriers currently being built in the world will be delivered to Greek ship owners. I would like to ask if it will be possible to see the table, so I will not have to explain about the numbers. You can see that. Is that okay for you? Please allow me to provide you with a few examples. Angelikoussis Shipping Group, the largest shipping company in Greece, has placed orders for 119 ships from Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering since 1994, the largest ever contracts between a single shipyard and a ship owner. Besides Angelikoussis Group, Minerva Marine Corporation also ordered 2 LNG carriers worth 438 million US dollars from Samsung Heavy Industries. Atlas Marine made a deal with Daihan Shipbuilding to build 2 Aframax tankers. Tsakos Energy Navigation made a deal with Daihan Shipbuilding to build 4 dual-fuel Aframax crude carriers, and more Greek ship owners are placing orders at the Korean shipyards as Handris, Euronav, Nirefs, etc. Both in Atlas Marine and Tsakos Energy, women are on the upper managerial level. That's very, very important to find out how many women are involved, not just as ship owners, but also as manager and of course as a crew. Today, Greek ship owners control 31.78% of the world oil tanker fleet, 25.01% of the world bulk carriers, 22.35% of the world LNG carriers, 15.60% of the world chemical and product tankers, 13.85% of LNG carriers, and 9.33% of the world container ship. More than 25% of the staff of the Greek-owned companies are women, and 80% are on the top of the administrative pyramid. Not very, very high, but if you are thinking how many years ago all the fleet was male-dominated, so is a huge progress. It is worth to say that during the last decade, the naval training and education in Greece, which includes 10 academies, has seen a 60.9% increase in female graduates. The percentage among these graduates who reach the rank of captain is increasing. Greek ship owners are constantly investing in new energy-efficient ships and in environmentally friendly equipment, with the average age of the Greek-owned fleet less than 10 years. The construction of modern and high-standard ships by the South Korean shipyards have steadily attracted the interest of Greek ship owners. During the last 25 years, On average, almost every 5 days, one new building is being delivered to Greek ship owners by the South Korean shipyards. It's impressive. And the trade between the shipping and shipbuilding industries of the two countries is continuous and vibrant. Korean companies take part steadily in Posidonia. Posidonia is the world's largest shipping exhibition held every second year in Greece. In the shipping industry, just as in other sectors of the global economy, the trend would undoubtedly be towards green technology and sustainability. Innovative technologies are being introduced and would further reduce its impact on the global environment. Several groundbreaking green technologies have been developed which will mitigate any negative impact of the shipping industry on the global environment. And Greek women in shipping will continue to provide important services to the Greek fleet worldwide by bringing people together and bridging hopes and intentions for a better global society that we all strive for the mid of so many storms. This was just a presentation with some figures and numbers to demonstrate that a country where shipping is so important for quite a few years is trying hard to impose the rules for the women to have a particular position in the marine and the shipping, and to make us proud that we can achieve as many and even more than males would achieve. Thank you very much.
네, 대사님.
Thank you, Ambassador. Yes, we really want to meet with you in Busan in person. And there's one more presentation to attend. Once again, please give a big hand. And next presenter is Lee Eun-nan, the first female Korean captain. She is working for Wilhelmsen Ship Management Korea. She sent us a video message. Good afternoon. My name is Lee Eun-nan, captain of Wilhelmsen Ship Management Korea. So I started to work for the company from 2010, and I was promoted to captain. And I have embarked on morning pilot, and we have successfully completed a schedule around North Europe, and also we are sailing through Suez. And as we are passing through the Biscay Ocean, which is a heavy water ocean, sorry if my camera is moving. It is unfortunate that I cannot be with you in person for such a meaningful event, but still it is my honor to deliver a video message. I would like to quickly introduce to you about the morning pilot. The length of the ship is 200 meters and the height of the bridge is 41 meters, including bridge. So this morning pilot is large size vehicle carrier, which can carry 7,600 automobiles. And I'm also as an agent to the owner of the ship. Of course, the asset value of the vehicle is all different, but anyway, the captain is a position with heavy responsibility to carry a very expensive asset. And of course, there's a lack of women talent in this shipping industry because there's a lack of a system, a lack of recognition towards women talent. So I would like to share with you my personal story, how I became the captain and how I was recognized for my competence. So firstly, when I joined this shipping industry as a junior, I was subject to many unfair treatment, and I was not recognized for my competitiveness. And I thought to myself, if I were a man, I would not be subject to unfair treatment. But then I changed my mind to think that I'm a woman something that I cannot change, and I'm on board as a woman. So let me just focus on what I can do better than the men.
So in the end, all my complaints were not from because I was women, and I realized that I need to focus on the things that I am good at as a women officer. Unlike male officers, I'm physically weaker, so I focused on being more diligent and detail oriented and not procrastinating. And I tried my best to build good relationship with my coworkers. And I never thought of this position as a temporary. I may, shift to other jobs later on, but I decided to focus on what I am in charge of right now, and I told myself to be proud of my position. On ships, you don't have so many different relationships with other people, so you may think it's strange that I feel excited here, but you work really hard on your task, and when you accomplish your goal, you do feel a sense of satisfaction, and it makes you feel content and happy, and it really motivates you. Ships are run by a minimum number of workforce, so each member's capability and ability counts, and each of them are precious beings. So if you are a part of this field, you need to be, proud of yourself. The leader, I think, is one who acts, behind the scenes. Of course, it could be lonely, but you have to be really take pride in yourself and be exemplary and be just and fair to everyone in any cases. I had so many models that I wanted to learn from, and I followed their paths. For the future generations and future leaders, I want to be a little motivation to them. If needed, I will gladly offer help and advice. I'm sure you'll do a great job. Thank you for listening.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you. Yes, in the past, we could not even imagine the woman captain, and I think she is the proof that the world has been changed. So as soon as seats are arranged on the stage, we will begin panel discussion. And during that time, I would like to introduce our chairperson. She is Sophie Gang, the chairperson of the Global Business Women's Alliance. We do have a discussant, Hong Jin Young, the chief executive of Seoul Marina Yacht Club. Please welcome them with a big hand. And before I turn my microphone to the chairperson, I would like to introduce online discussant. We have Deborah Reynolds, CEO of Passenger Yacht Nautical Enterprises. Can you hear me well? Yes. And also we do have Frida Gerfi, President of SEVE. And we have Yakateri, ambassador, who just gave us a presentation. I would like to turn my microphone to our chairperson. So I'm having a technical problem with my microphone. Good afternoon, and it is my pleasure to meet with you all. My name is Sophie Kang. I think let's just dive into the discussion session due to time constraints. Thank you so much for your presentation, Ambassador. Before I start, as is already mentioned by Ambassador, about a few years ago, IMO and also the UN have been making efforts, for example, providing education for women so that they become the member of shipping industry. But still, I think the effort is in its only beginning stage. And I was really surprised by this. It's not that I have heard of it a couple of times. I heard that Greek women are excelling in ship management, showing great result, not only in Greece, but also in the US. There are many CEOs of the ship management in US. And also there's a company called Vista. So Marine Logistics Trade Association, not a company, and the head of that association is also Greek woman, and also another person who was recently appointed was Greek women. So I thought to myself, wow, that is amazing. In this male-headed industry, we are witnessing so many achievements. And there's one question I would like to give you. So good afternoon, Ambassador. Thank you for being with us today. So how can the Greek woman excel? Is it because of your DNA? Is it etched in your DNA? Or is it because of the environment that Greece has, favorable to shipping industry?
Thank you very much for the question. I don't think that is just a question of DNA. Is the way that people is living nowadays is different than the way that people was living in the past. And if I started my presentation with a little bit of history, was just to demonstrate that during the independence war, very hard, every war is very hard time. We had two ladies, not just having their small fleet, but leading this fleet. If you are living in a country where, as Korea, Greece is a peninsula, and it's not just a peninsula, but has thousands of islands. If you are living in a country and you are surrounded by the water, it's normal to have a close relationship with the sea and the water. And it's normal to be involved in all the tasks that somebody has, never mind if it is a gentleman or a lady. So I think that we have not to feel that is the DNA, but is the struggle that every day you are doing in order to survive. And in order to survive, you have to work. And in order to work, you have to have the motivation from your own environment. And if you are living nearby the sea, you have the motivation. But after this, let's say, natural explanation, I would like to demonstrate the importance of the legal framework. If a lady can have the same chances than a gentleman, of course, she's trying to her best, and she's excelling. It's not just the president of the Union of the Greek Ship Owners. It's not just the ladies that they have inherited a big part of the fleet from their family, because shipping is a family. As chaebols in Korea, ship owners, they have their own chaebols in Greece. It's not just that they inherited the fleet, but they have managerial distinctions. And we have not to talk only for the presidents and the leaders, but also for the crews. Nowadays, in the academies, I gave the example, a lot of people is trying. Why? Because the frame is existing. Each government, I suppose, that has to give equal opportunities to everybody, and at that moment you can fill the gap that previous generations have. Myself, I am doing this job for more than 40 years, and I am coming from a family. My mother was a lawyer practicing labor law 78 years ago in Greece. 78 years ago in Greece, just after the World War, one can think that the conditions have been totally different nowadays. But she had the stamina and the dynamism, and she studied, and then she would like to practice. So we have to be strong. We have to be accepted because we want to do something. If we don't want and if we are not daring, of course we cannot succeed. So if I could say something, not just in women in the maritime, but generally, is that we are strong and we have to prove our strength by trying. It's good to try, and somebody is trying not always as a president, but starting from the bottom and going up. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다. 이어서
Thank you, Ambassador. And before you go, I have one more question. Greece is one of the biggest tourist attraction, and also I believe that your maritime asset could be also used as a tourist attraction. When I heard from the European friends, they have yacht, and in winter they anchor the boat to the port of Greece. And there's a question, for example, cruise. You said it's a very big tourism industry, and I believe that there are many Greek women who are in the cruise industry. So whenever the cruise ship is anchored on the port, and are there many Greek women who are involved in the maintenance of the cruise ship? So for the last 3 years, because of the COVID-19, there were many lockdowns placed. And can you recommend us any itinerary or tourist attraction around Greece?
Thank you very much for this.
네, 질문 감사합니다.
I mentioned before that shipping is one of the main pillars of our economy, and the second pillar is tourism. COVID had been a huge obstacle for our societies everywhere in the world. We have been done very well as Korea, following another model concerning the restriction measures. For us, in the beginning, it was lockdown during all the winter time, and in June 21, we opened, Greece opened the frontiers for tourists, of course, following several measures, PCR test, etc., and the vaccination certificate. The European vaccination certificate has been introduced from Greece. It's another measure that is quite important to know that the majority, even not all the population of the country is vaccinated in order to be able to deal with this pandemic. So the numbers of the tourists that the first on 21st last year we had in Greece was big, but the tourist period was short. This year the numbers exceed every expectation. Why? Because people had enough from all these restrictions everywhere in the world, so they would like to visit safe country. Because Greece is a safe destination, not just for COVID, but also there is no, in Europe right now after the invasion of Russia and Ukraine, there is a war, but it's far away. And we are a safe destination, and having this particularity with so many islands and so much diversity, everybody could discover what is suitable for him. I think that cruises, it's a nice way to discover many destinations, many islands, many coast yachts, and many other important for sightseeing places. And once somebody is doing a cruise, could choose the right destination for the second trip to discover just one part of Greece. And what I'm recommending is according to the interest that somebody has. Some of us, we are much more concentrated to relaxation, some others to archaeology, some others to history and some others to sports and activities and some others just to follow festivals and never mind if it is music or any other art. So according to the interest that somebody has to choose the right destination and the right cruise. We are offering a lot of variety, and I discover also by myself that a lot of women are in the sector of services. That means tourism and of course in shipping. And concerning cruises, we have a lot, not just on the managerial level, but also in the administrative, but also in every sector. We have a big percentage of ladies participating because they are much more open to smile than a gentleman. And it's a nice way to welcome somebody by a nice smile.
Thank you. 감사합니다, 대사님. 가셔야 되니.
Thank you, Ambassador. It is unfortunate that we have to say bye to you since you have to leave now. And
These two questions, and I hope that next year I will have the possibility to be with you physically and to participate in a much more live dialogue, because from there is all the essence.
Your Excellency, you don't need to wait until next year. We will have you sooner, and let's discuss, how we can develop, our two countries' women's cooperation, and also let's, have a brainstorm how we can do, for sustainable, development for women. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, and I hope that this conference will be a milestone to the next steps. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 계속 이어나가겠습니다. 지금 기다리시는
And we have the person in California. I think it'll be very late night in local time. She's Dava Reynolds, CEO of Passage Yacht Nautical Enterprise, another industry which is led by male. And not only super yacht, but small and medium-sized yachts are all managed by the person. And also she has been in this industry for more than 30 years. And then I really wonder how she came this so far.
레이놀스 대표님 감사합니다. It's to you.
How did I come into this industry? I came into this industry like many people come into this industry, and that is through participating in the sport. And I started sailing in my teenage years and fell in love with it. And I think most people will talk about sailing and boating as a sport of passion. And I think when you meet people in the recreational industry that are working in the industry, they will have some affinity either for the ocean or water sports or boating or travel. There's quite a number of different ways that people engage in the recreational industry. They will work in the charter industry, which is a very fast-growing segment of the recreational industry right now. And there's lots of different jobs in there. People will work as crew members. They'll work as captains. They will work as booking agents. They will work as charter fleet managers. So there's all kinds of industries there, as well as the sales industry, which is my industry. My business has a lot of different openings for people to engage in boating. And one of my commitments is to make boating very accessible for people. And one of the things that I started when I was young. I was in my mid-20s, and I had been working in banking, another very male-dominated field. And I was also doing a lot of sailboat racing and going to yacht clubs. And that was at a time when women couldn't even go into certain bars in the yacht clubs. They were closed to men only. It was a very, and it still is, a very male-dominated field. When I go to international conferences, there's very few women business owners. There's a lot of more women in the charter industry than the actual retail sales industry. But I just started the business out of my love of sailing and wanting to share that with people and find innovative and unique ways of doing that. It's a very small industry. There's only about 3% of the population that does participate in boating. So you have a lot of small owner-operated businesses, or you will have large corporations that will own a bunch of different dealerships, or they'll own different companies that supply goods and services to the marine industry. And one of the things that I always like to do is just disrupt the status quo, and especially in this industry because it is a very protected industry in terms of the way things are done. And I remember the first boat show that I signed up for to put a boat in, they wouldn't give me a space. And I had to, it was a group of men that were managing the boat show, and they just didn't want to have me in the show. So I had to go into the office and basically, you know, just tell them I wasn't going to leave until they gave me a space. So that was my first lesson in how to be in this industry. Is basically you have to have a lot of determination, persistence, and commitment to break through just the status quo, basically. And that's pretty much how I started.
감사합니다. 잘 들었는데요. 그 사실 여트 이런 거는 우리가 다
Talking about yachts, it's a little different from retails, right? Because you can't just go and pick up a yacht with small amount of money. As you mentioned, Debbie, before coming into this industry, you worked in the banking industry, which is male dominant. Your experience in banking industry, did it give any help for you to coming into this yacht industry?
Actually, because I was in marketing and product development. And, you know, I think one of the things that I had to learn was how to work around kind of systems that were already in place and that were very, I would say, arcane, that were stuck. You know, what it did do is it gave me a lot of motivation to create new things. And one of the things is I like to create new ways of doing things. And the banking industry was, they put me in a creative situation where I was supposed to come up with new products, and I was supposed to come up with new lending guidelines and that kind of thing. But, you know, people really, even though at that time they wanted innovation, the industry just wasn't ready for innovation. And I think that is something that I found in the yachting industry as well. And so, you know, you learn to find your strengths, and you learn to have a lot of patience, and in terms of changing an industry and changing the way that things are done, and enrolling people. I mean, a big part of the yachting business, and I think what's made my business successful, is being able to enroll people in new programs and new ways of doing things. And I think that when you're in an environment that is not particularly dynamic, and you tend to be a dynamic oriented person, that there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn about how to be with that and how to work with that kind of energy to transform an industry and transform an experience for the people that are your clients in the industry.
저 질문 하나 더 드릴게요.
Can I ask you one more question? If, say, there's people who love ocean and maritime things, and one of the ladies come to you and ask you, I want to, participate in that industry, and what kind of advice would you give them? You need this, and don't do this. What are some do's and don'ts?
Well, in the recreational industry, what I would probably do, and what I do, because I try to recruit women in the industry. I haven't had a lot of women work for me because it's just not, it's not an easy industry to access, and the sport itself is looked at as somewhat of an elitist sport. Yacht clubs, when you join a yacht club, you need a sponsor, which means you have to know people in the yacht club. So if you have not been in the yachting arena, it's very hard to know people that are going to be able to sponsor you. One of the biggest questions that I get when people know that I have a boating business is they'll say, oh, I think I love boating. How do I get into boating? Because it is not something that most people recognize. It has its own vocabulary, its own lingo. It has a kind of a reputation of being inaccessible. You have to learn how to do the sport. There's, training that you have to have. So if somebody comes completely well, for instance, I had a woman who wanted to be in the mechanical end of it, to work in my service department. So, I started her out with an internship, and so that she could work with I have all men in my service department, but she could work in an internship, and that's what she wanted to do, and ultimately go into sales. So we started her in an internship. The other problem with the marine industry is that it's not something where you're going to go and get training to be in the industry as a whole. If you want to be a yacht designer, which I don't know of any women yacht designers, you can go to take courses and get a degree in yacht design. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a surveyor, there are courses you can take in the retail end of it to be a marine surveyor for retail. But again, it's not a licensed job. If you want to, be a mechanic, you would basically have to either work in a boatyard and get trained, or go to training that particular marine engine manufacturers have, but you're going to pay for those kinds of things. So I would really try to find out what people were interested in. If somebody loved travel, I would definitely recommend the charter industry. And that is one of the things that my business gave me, was the opportunity to travel all over the world. I've been to boat shows all over the world and yachting events. And that's something that's a big passion for me as well. And if somebody really enjoyed travel, they could work as a crew member on a yacht. Now, when I talk about yachts, I'm not talking about the big cruise ships. I'm talking about some of the yachts that, might be 70 to 150 or 200 feet. And they would be privately owned, that people would put into a charter program, so it gets managed, and then there's a crew on board. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a big job. You get very few days off because people charter their yachts. There's people that come out off and on, and the owners want to get on, but you get to travel and see the world, and you're on a beautiful luxury yacht, which is not bad travel.
네, 감사합니다. 아마 여기 계신 많은 분들이 지금 하신 말씀 이렇게 딱
Thank you so much. I believe that everyone here will really remember your message. Whenever we have questions, we'll reach out to you. We have a contact point here. Thank you so much. And the next panel discussant must be so interested also. And the next panel discussant is Hong Jin-young, Chief Executive and also head coach of Seoul Marina Yacht Club. And she is a medal owner, gold medal owner of the Asian Olympics game. And I believe that two of you have a commonality since we are talking about the boating and also marina industry, and we are running out of time. And you will stay here with us until the evening. So we will first attend to your presentation, and then we will have to ask you questions afterward. Okay, so please go ahead. So yes, please. Yep. Okay. So I would like to thank you for inviting me to this conference, and I think everything is just now mature for me to start something. And I'm running the business of Seoul Marina Yacht Club. My name is Hong Jin-young again. And please go to the next page. And I started as a sports woman, but I took more like an cultural approach. But we really first have to know about ourselves. What's our identity? What can I do as a woman in this marina industry? So I believe that the oceanic and also maritime culture started earlier than any other countries, and especially around Uljin area, there is the ship which used to catch a whale. Which started from Neolithic age, and can you imagine how good the ship should be? There is the trace of this history that ship existed, and also there was no bridge in the Han River, and for a king to cross the river, the boats were put together in order to become a bridge for the king. And also we know about the turtle ship, right, which is a warship. So I believe that the culture around this industry is excelling, and we are no less behind than any other countries. And this is one of the reasons why I became part of the industry. So this is just personal or history. Yes, there were many ups and downs because there were no people who walked along this career path before me. Because yes, that means I am the first person. I am the person who needs to make out of this uncharted territory. So at the same time, I had full of a candid spirit, and I really wanted to do well. And then I didn't realize that I became an expert after 15 to 20 years of time in this industry. Can you imagine how many ups and downs I had to come through? And after spending in this industry for about 20 years ago, 20 years now, I'm confident. And this is definitely blue ocean. I thought to myself, that's why I came to establish Seoul Yacht Marina Club. So then, how am I leading this yacht club? So there's a basic entry, right? We have to teach the beginners well, so that they develop interest and they become part of this yacht club. And then I first started off my business as academy, starting from the entry all the way to advanced curriculum for dinghy, multi-hull, catamaran, and also power yacht, even to issue the license to run the yacht. And there's a team for it. So now we came to have the experts who are qualified to teach this curriculum. Since we are talking about the women curriculum, I would like to share with you interesting episode when I hired a woman. So I established a team of the beauty pageant. The team was composed of 13 sailors. Most of them joined this team to take a photograph and to look more beautiful. One member out of the team had a very good physical and she was very strong, so she became part of my team. So when I had an interview with her, I asked her that, so you are in boating and also maritime industry, but if you want to really show off your feminism, then you cannot do well. If you want to look continuously beautiful, then there's nothing that you can do much here. So if you want to continuously work within, then you really have to open up your own career path. But then again, she reached her limit. And she again ended up displaying her feminine characteristics. So that's why I hired another man as a coach, which is a very interesting story, I think. So coming back to where I'm from, so curriculum is good and we have a very good equipment. We do have the very best brand from which that we bought our equipment. And my customers are young generation who has time and who has also money. And also we have kids whose parents can pick up and also drop off. And also we are providing free the teaching course for citizens of my area. What I'm trying to say is that we are closely working with our regional government, and also we are participating all different kinds of competitions, and also we are participating in public campaigning by the Ministry of Environment. So we can cooperate, and we are cooperating with the public organizations. Then why am I doing what I do? Why am I teaching yacht and why am I doing this? Because business is fun. It's fun to do. And those who come to me to learn about yachts, I wanted to give them a sort of fun. And then I wanted to open their eyes up that there are more career paths that they can explore. As our CEO Deborah already said, there are so many career paths to be explored. For example, yacht designing and also service worker. There are so many different sectors in this industry, and also you can be part of the fashion and culture sector in this industry. So regardless of the gender, I think boat is a commonality for all the people who have interest in this industry. So thinking about all this and teaching people, thinking of this, I became the person who have my own style of leadership. So I always had this kind of dream, but I can confidently say that my dream has come true. I think this is definitely a leadership of myself, and also it can be a leadership of any women. And then how can I lead them that I gave dream to? So I need to really go to very basic. I need to go back to very basic. So in order to help them succeed in what they do, we really have to, and also I really have to commit myself to the person with a sincere heart. Then that's what made me to have my own role as a leader, and naturally more people came to me. So sincere heart and sincere attitude are very, very important. And also the leadership as the person from the relatively older generation need to give dreams to children. So I really do spare nothing to really give hopes to children. I think words are not enough, but practically you really have to help them out so that they can achieve a success. So this is what I have been doing from my yacht club. So due to time constraints, I would like to summarize my presentation in this way. So especially in the maritime industry, I think identity should be clear for you to succeed as a woman in maritime industry. You have to do SWOT analysis, you have to conduct analysis in order to set very clear goal. unless you be taken to other ways. So I really had a set very clear goal. And then I continuously challenge the things that I want to achieve. And also, it is not just the dream in the air. You really have to take your courage. And also, along with your journey, there could be the things that you did wrong. Then you need to be courageous enough to say that, oh, this is what I have done wrong, so that you can improve the next time. And also, you have to really go through and you have to overcome environmental limitations and any limitations. So I think if you do not do the breakthrough, then this is when that you would reach limitations. So in order to go over, in order to address the limitations, you really have to be courageous. And next, you really have to have a strong commitment, right? We are working with nature, which is very wild, so wild. I think the industry which is led by male are very, very wild. But it is unfortunate that we do not have a proper market in this industry. We are in our beginning stage. So still there are many men out there who are very stubborn and who have very narrow-minded, but still at the same time very wild. So you really have to have a very strong commitment and determination to survive in this industry. As a woman, you have to have very soft and also aggressive and strong charisma. And next, there are the people who are stronger than myself. But if you want to achieve something, you really have to take it after competing with the other people. If there is no expert, then large size the company would just introduce somebody else from abroad to Korea. Then if you do not have financial room, then you really have to go out there and fight for it if you want to achieve something. I believe that again, that this industry is a blue ocean, and then if you have courage, then you can even win in a red ocean. Thank you so much. Thank you. We will continue to talk with you afterward. So yes, time does really fly. The next discussant is in Algeria. I don't know whether you had a breakfast or not in your local time. We are, yes, with her, right? So I'm speaking in Korean now, and we have Farida Gerafi, president of SEVE. Why Algeria? When we talk about the Arab countries and Middle Eastern countries, we think that there will not be much enough of women talent in this industry, but this is otherwise. And then when I attended the ceremony of the floating over the ship, the head of the ship and also the captain was woman. And also, we need to continuously achieve a sustainable development, right? And in that, Algeria really shows much strength. And due to our time constraints, I want to just ask about the blue economy. So she can speak in English. So
Oui, je ne te vois pas sur l'image, mais tu m'entends. Tu sais, je suis désolée, mais on a assez de temps, donc on va raccourcir la question. Donc je vais te poser seulement deux questions, mais toutes les choses, tu sais, le message que tu m'as donné, je vais les répondre quand j'aurai le temps, d'accord? Et oui, merci encore pour ta compréhension. Et dis-nous un peu sur ta association de sève.
Donc voilà, bonjour et merci de m'avoir invité à votre conférence, Global Conference for Women in Maritime Busan. Je suis très contente d'assister avec vous. Je vais vous parler brièvement de l'association
dont je suis la présidente. C'est l'association donc des chefs d'entreprise, des femmes chefs d'entreprise, dans tous les domaines, bien sûr. Et l'association a été créée en 93, donc dans un contexte un peu difficile que traversait l'Algérie, y compris le terrorisme. Son objectif est d'accompagner la femme entrepreneur porteuse de projets pour la réalisation de son objectif, et cela, entre autres, la formation, la vulgarisation des dispositifs établis par l'État algérien pour aider la femme entrepreneur signature de conventions, donc avec des différents acteurs des dispositifs, des banques, des fonds de garantie, administration locale, des ministères. Et statistiquement, on a plus de 60 000 femmes dans l'agriculture sont inscrites au niveau des chambres agricoles. Et quand on dit chambre agricole, y compris la pêche, bien sûr, du pays ont accès au crédit des différents dispositifs de soutien de garantie par l'État.
D'accord, c'est très important, oui. Oui.
Donc, cet accompagnement a permis à de nombreuses d'entre elles de passer des activités agricoles traditionnelles à l'entrepreneuriat, aux start-up.
Merci. Je vais traduire ce que tu viens de dire. 저기 알제리 여성 기업 협회는 1993년
So, Algeria Business Women's Association was established back in 1993, where there are so many things were going on. Everyone was having so many difficulties, and this association was established in order to help business women. And yes, so we provided education, and also there were many tools provided by the central government, and so such tools were distributed widely. And also the association was serving as a bridge. So at first, securing money from banking industry, and the women in the agricultural industry, about 60,000 of them are registered with the association, and compared to 1993, they were just small farmers, but now the size of their business is the size of the largest size the company. And I want to ask you about the blue economy.
Très brièvement, pour l'économie bleue que votre gouvernement et l'Algérie en ce moment, vous êtes vraiment dans le fond pour ça. Oui.
D'accord. Merci Sophie. Donc, pour ce qui est de l'économie bleue, un projet pour l'économie bleue est en phase de finalisation avant la fin d'année. Donc, l'objectif principal général du projet, c'est l'économie bleue, pêche et aquaculture. C'est de contribuer au développement économique de l'Algérie en développant durablement l'économie bleue, notamment dans le secteur de la pêche et de l'aquaculture, en capitalisant donc notamment sur les résultats du projet et en cohérence avec les actions que le gouvernement algérien sera amené à lancer au titre de la mise en œuvre de la stratégie nationale pour l'économie bleue, qu'on appelle chez nous le SNEP. Les objectifs de cette économie bleue, c'est l'économie bleue donc soutient la création d'emplois, de valeurs et de nouvelles opportunités d'investissement. Les revenus et les conditions de travail des pêcheurs artisans sont améliorés. L'Algérie donc dispose des capacités opérationnelles pour assurer le suivi, le contrôle et la gestion de la pêche. Sachant qu'en Algérie, donc, la femme est en parité avec l'homme dans tous les domaines économiques et financiers, ainsi que social, SEV, notre association des femmes chefs d'entreprise, est en phase de négociation avec les responsables de ce projet pour faire profiter les femmes adhérentes à l'association et leur permettre d'améliorer leur productivité en conséquence, voire en général. Voilà.
So from the Algerian government is implementing policies focused on blue economy. I was also very surprised to hear that there's no occupation which excludes women. It is guaranteed by the law. Whether it is a maritime, ocean, or shipping industry, every woman is in the industry, and we are talking about ESG a lot. That is definitely related to that. We have to achieve sustainable development to, at the same time, by reducing the environmental pollution. There are so many technological changes and also environmental changes. And then we also have to change our mindset. We need to create values and also jobs at the same time to befit the changing environment. So I better summarize what we have shared within 2 minutes. There's so many information that we have received. I'm really excited. We have President Lee, and also she is the president from the Western who represent Korea. I think we had to spend more time to talk about all this, to talk about what kind of occupation can be created for women in this industry. And of course, ILO provides education on that, but we have to think about all this together. And entrance of a woman into the industry is low, but I believe that when we talk about that to male, then they also think that it is not the industry for them. So we really have to change our mindset toward the perception of the marine industry. And we really have to present what the career path are there for a future generation, especially women. And that needs to be done by wisdom, and I would like to offer my apology if my summary was just slightly out of context. And if you would like to continuously talk to panelists, please find our staff members so that you can talk to her, even if you want to, for example, yacht brokerage. Sorry to rush everything. Once again, I would like to thank you all for paying attention. Thank you.
네, 감사.
Thank you. It was a very meaningful and beneficial session, but we'll make sure to have more time next time. So let's give another round of applause. Thank you. We're lagging a little behind, but we'll take a 10 minutes break and then continue on with session 3. Thank you.